Hello and welcome. You are listening to the Gay with God podcast, a safe place for us to share our stories and support one another. How long did we know? What challenges did we face? Did we lose our faith? When did we find our way back home? Or are we still searching? The stories you hear on this podcast will melt your heart and strengthen your belief that in God, all things are possible, and you can be authentically gay with the God of your understanding. I am your host, Midge Noble, and I am very honored that you are here. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Gay with God podcast. I am your host, Midge Noble, and I'm delighted to have you join me wherever you're joining me from. And happy Pride, y'all, wherever that is, wherever you are, whether you can be out, whether you're not out, whether you are out and proud or in and scared, or wherever you're at in your journey. Welcome to Pride Month. And I would hope that we would be proud every month, because if you're living the life of authenticity, then we have a right to feel good about ourselves, to know that God feels good about us, that Jesus's complete ministry was about building up us to let us know that we are loved that much by God, that when we could not seem to get it together ourselves, that God came in the form of man and said, I'm here, I love you, I'm going to show you how to get this done. And that's what it was all about. It was all about letting us know how much we're loved and how much we mean to God. Having said that, let me just pause for a moment and say that during Pride, there is an event for you to go to if you really want to see how you can be authentically, gracefully you, whether it's in spirituality or in organized religion, however you're expressing your faith or your questions or your social justice desires. The Wild Goose Festival is for you. It's happening really soon, and you can still get tickets. They are available at wildgoosefestival.org. I will put that in the show notes for you to get that link. And you can also get a discount on your adult weekend ticket because you're a follower of Gay with God. And so also on the show page at empoweredmidge.podbean.com, you can find the discount code of $50 off of that adult ticket on my show page. So please go there. Remember that the Wild Goose Festival is a transformational community grounded in faith-inspired social justice. It's a one-of-a-kind gathering that brings together activists, artists, and seekers from all walks of life to explore justice, art, spirituality, and community. It's at Van Hoy Farms in Union Grove, North Carolina, and I'd love for you to join me there. From engaging workshops to inspiring panels and interactive experiences, Wild Goose has something for everyone. So mark your calendars, July 11th through the 14th. Go grab your discount code from my show page, empoweredmidge.podbean.com, and you'll be able to see a live taping of the Gay with God podcast right there at the festival at the Goose Tent. So I'll be there with a guest and we'll be doing a live taping. What could go wrong? Y'all know that I edit these things, right? So this will not be edited. This will be live from the Goose. One year we had the sanitation truck going past the Goose Tent, so you heard this rumble, rumble, rumble during some of the episodes. It was just something you can't change in a live taping. So we'll see what happens. But please come join me. It is welcome knowledge that Flamey Grant, an amazing drag queen and very nice person, she was on my podcast earlier, and I just can't wait to see her live again at the Goose. So come on, join us. So this whole thing, I titled this episode, Find Yourself a Sunset. Well, what in the world do I mean about that? So I am again at our beloved Corgi Haven Lane cabin up in the mountains of North Carolina. And oh my word, the sunset last night was spectacular. I cannot tell you how amazing it was. If you follow me on Facebook, you've probably already seen the photos from last night. And there were no filters used in the taking of that picture, or several pictures. And I do zoom in because I want to pick up the colors that we're seeing live, and taking a picture makes it look further away than it seems to be when I'm looking at it from the deck. So anyway, that's the only thing I do is I'll zoom in some, or I might do a video, but go to my Facebook page, and just see those pictures. Now, find yourself a sunset. You have sunsets everywhere. I'm not saying that mine is any more spectacular than yours, whether you're at the beach or in the city or in your home. We see things wherever we are that's beautiful and gorgeous. What I mean, though, by finding yourself a sunset is that for me, looking at the sunset from our deck is a sacred experience. It is like a gift from the creator of all that is that says, look, I'm bringing you this beautiful moment. And it's gone in a flash, like especially during the summer here, it may be pretty spectacular and the sun sets pretty quickly. So you need to catch it when you can catch it, because it may have a hue of color that continues to stay until 8 9:30 at night sometimes, but the actual sunset at its peak is very fleeting. You can see it go in the house, come back out, it's gone. So you really want to catch that moment. And I think that's what I'm talking about today, is finding yourself a sunset, a moment where you can be in a sacred space and just be present. You want to be present. We've talked often about how God will come in the silence. God comes in the whispers and will speak to our heart and to our souls, and we may not even know it at the time. And yet, that knowing will come back to us when we need it. So, in the silence, we will be gifted with messages, I think. And those messages are meant for things that we're struggling about. And especially if we intentionally go into the silence to hear the messages, even though we're not sure at the time we heard it, later we will get what we need. Someone said the other day that God will always bring you the people and the experiences that you need, that you are basically meditating on or questioning or asking God for help with, because the Holy Spirit moves through us and in us and through other people, and we may never know that that is the direct message from God, but later we'll figure that out. So finding yourself a sunset means finding something sacred that you hold on to, that uplifts you in the times of stress and fear and confusion and times when you feel alone, that God is always present for us. And in this Pride Month, it's important to remember that we were authentically, creatively made to be us. And so feeling proud of ourselves, not hubris, not that uplifted, I'm better than everybody else and nobody can touch me. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about connecting to the internal essence of who we are and feeling good about ourselves, that we've located it, that we know it's present, even in the face of all of the disparaging comments, even in the face of all of the trials that we have in our families, in our neighborhoods, in our cities, in our country, in the face of all of that, inwardly, we know who we are. And if we don't know who we are and we go into that sacred space and time and ask for that to be revealed, you will definitely get some feedback from that. It might not be from yourself, it might be from someone that's reflecting for you who you are really. It might be, the whispers of your soul churning to let you know, hey, they're talking about me here when they're talking about somebody really cool or nice, or, whatever attributes you have. When you hear that, you know that that is also the answer to your question or the answer to your plea. Please, God, let me know that I'm worthy. Please, God, let me know that I'm okay. Let me know that you love me. Let me know that you're real. These are questions that we all have. And yet we never look at the sacred sunset and say, are you real? Because we can see it. And seeing is believing, right? However, that inner knowing comes from a place that's not seen, and we find that to be faith. And not all of us have faith. Not all of us can believe in something that we haven't seen. And yet, if you do have a knowing, if you are pulled into a relationship with the God of your understanding, then you have found it. Even when it's clunky, even when I was not even going to church, would not go to church, had made a vow that I would not go back to church because I was done with all that hypocrisy and all those sinners and all those people that acted like they were better than everybody else because they went to church. I had so many negative experiences and I had so many negative thoughts to keep me from leaning back in. I perpetuated a lot of those thoughts to keep me from leaning back in because I was afraid it wouldn't work again. I was so fearful that I would not be able to have an experience that I needed that I refused to even try again until I did. And I did because I allowed myself to finally feel the nudging and the pulling and the desire to go back to a community of believers that are not perfect, that have disappointed me, that have created stress for me from time to time. And yet, I find my God in that church. I find it in the sermons that I hear. I find it in some of the people that are there. Not all of the people, but enough of the people that let me know that I am affirmed and loved and cared about and that people have my back. And so that's what I'm saying is that nothing is going to be a perfect scenario. The sunset might be splashing sacred at one moment and gone the next. Wouldn't you want it to linger? Well, of course we want it to linger. And yet the real work is in the muck. We can't stay on the mountain and do the work we need to do. The work we need to do is to be visible, to stand up, to stand out, to be proud, and let people know that we know who we are. Even if they continue to condemn us with the clobber verses that are yet so tired and overused, honestly, find something new to say. But they don't. They just continue to vomit out, sorry about that, all of the nastiness that they've heard their whole lives and the things that they believe themselves because that's all they've been told. They've never given themselves the chance to go into the scary places. What are the scary places? The scary places of challenging the written word of God. They don't want to do it because then they'll have to admit at some point that that research, that exegesis that they're doing is going to show them that Jesus never said anything about homosexuality because there was nothing to be said. That homosexuality was already in the Bible from the beginning of time, and they don't want to admit that either. There were homosexual relationships. There were other types of personalities and genders and sexualities, and they don't want to believe that either because that skews the white Jesus syndrome. You have to look like us. You have to be exactly like us because it says in God's image, and I'm certainly not gay. Well, you don't have to be gay. You can be straight. We'll accept you. We're not, heterosexual phobia. We'll take you in. We believe in you. You can be that. Maybe Jesus was straight, maybe he wasn't. There's a book I'm going to get to read soon, one of these days, that talks about the possibility of Jesus having a wife. Now, wasn't that the coolest thing ever? Let's see. Are you sure it was a wife and not a husband? I don't know. But maybe, I mean, I don't care. I don't care if he was straight. I don't care if he was bi. I don't care if he was gay. I would care a little bit if he was gay. I think that would be really super cool. But even if he wasn't, you know, he was a person with divine nature and human nature coming to earth to say that we are loved, that we are sacred enough in God's eyes, that he continues to find ways to bring us home. He just wants to bring us home and to let us know that no matter what we go through, no matter what the trials are, that our lives can be a sacred sunset, a moment of assurance that God is present in our lives, in the muck, in the work that seems to go on, and we never get the changes long term that we're waiting for. But that's because we're still on earth, and we need to keep doing the work. And whatever corner of your life that you can make it sacred and loving and kind and welcoming, you're doing the work. Do it for yourself, and then do it for others, and allow that to just reach out into the universe. If every single person who is alive today would allow themselves to create a sacred sunset space around them, all of our spaces would bump into each other and the whole world could be transformed. Yes, I know that's a fantasy. And yet, what if it wasn't? What if every person decided we're done with all this crazy act and mess, and we're going to get our lives together, and we're going to love each person around us the best that we can, and even if we have friction on some of the bubble edges, they're still going to touch each other. And unlike an apple that's rotten in a bag of apples, a good person in the middle of all of this, if we continue to have more and more good into the world, I do believe we can transform it, and we can be ready for the return of Jesus. So I don't know what your corner of your world looks like, but mine is a sunset. Even when things go wrong, even when I have trials to the point of I just want to stop, even when I get frustrated with the rhetoric of the political climate right now, even when I get really ticked off angry at what's happening, my life is still a sunset because I have a sacred relationship with the God of my understanding that sustains me and continues to hold me in the presence of all the other people who have that same thing. I don't do it alone. I have my tribe that I can count on earth who also has a sacred sunset in their life, also has that connection to the God of their understanding. And when our bubbles connect, we are powerful. So happy Pride, y'all. Happy Pride. Go out there every day, lift your head up high. Whether you're out and proud or in and proud, be a beacon of change for the people who don't even know you're doing it. Just do it. Stand up. Be you. And connect with the people that can support you. And find those moments of silence with the God of your understanding and create your own sunsets. Whether you can see them or not, let it build up inside of you and let you know that you have the energy and the spirit of the God of your understanding right inside of you. Let it shine. Thank you, everybody, for listening today and supporting and sharing and subscribing wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to see more information and links to connect with me, please go to the show page at empoweredmidge.podbean.com. There you can find the support that you need for your coming out and faith journey by having a free consultation with me. We'll just have a conversation, see if we're a good match, and if you want to hire me as your coach, I would be more than happy to join you on that journey. Check out our Facebook group, Gay with God, where we do a monthly Zoom group entitled My Faith Journey. We love talking to each other and supporting each other, and sometimes I have something planned that we will do together, and sometimes we're just checking in and making sure that we're each okay and asking the questions that we need in a safe space. And if you would like to be a part of the next Gay with God book club, please email me at empoweredmidge@gmail.com and get on the list for the next book club that meets online. And that way you can ask your behind the scenes questions and the things that I've left out. And you might even see a picture or two of the fam. If you are listening to this podcast and are questioning whether you can be gay and be in a relationship with the God of your understanding, if you identify as LGBTQIA+, or not even sure if you are gay, God has always been within you, even when you didn't know it. You have always been gay with God. Thank you, everybody. Stay tuned to see how you can join the Gay with God community. And as always, you are loved. I want to invite you to become a part of the Gay with God community. How can you do that? Stay connected by messaging me your thoughts and comments in the comment section under the downloads of the show on the Gay with God show page. Subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen and share so we can increase our community outreach and be a light to those who are struggling to claim their faith. Consider being a sponsor so I can highlight your service in our community. We are all worthy of respect and a relationship with the God of our understanding. I want to thank you in advance for supporting this podcast. Together, we as a community will keep this show visible and our community stronger. Deep gratitude to my friend Tim McClendon of Tim McClendon Music for allowing me to use an excerpt from Interlude 4, a song found on his CD entitled Sundance.